Well, what's the position of the match and how the day unfolded? To talk more on this, I'm now being joined by Sourav Ganguly, former Indian captain, also by Boria Majumdar, our consulting sports editor. Going across to Dada first. Dada, do you think the two drop catches of Brendon McCullum changed the course of the match today?
Yeah, catching is an issue. In any format, catching is an issue. But when you see Dhoni, he takes a lot of pride in his fielding unit. He's very, very particular about having a good fielding unit. So there is talent in that fielding unit. It's just got to keep working on your slip catches. I've always said catching in slips is a specialist job. You need to have specialists in the slip area and they have to remain. Whether they drop a catch or whether they catch a catch, they have to remain for right throughout the test match in that area. And it's an area where I think India can improve.
Dada, Brendon McCullum, he batted exceptionally well given the conditions in New Zealand. When he came on to bat, in fact.
Fabulous. He got a fantastic 100 today, and it was not an easy wicket to bat, you know. And these hundreds remain noticed because you're 90 for 5, you're captain of the innings, captain of the team, and you come and get a big 100. And it was, see, when you watch McCullum, you see so much talent. He was keeping for New Zealand in the past and now he's left that job. He's captain and batsman. So you can see his batting flourishing. It's strange, you know, at the beginning of the season, before West Indies came to New Zealand, McCullum was almost dropped. They were almost ready to leave him because of his performance. He had a great series against the West Indies and now another great series against India. So, you know, it's great to see him play because every time I've seen him, I've seen so much talent. His problem has been consistency, but I think with the wicket keeping taking away from him, he's now been able to concentrate on his batting and you can see the results.
Going across to Boria right now. Boria, Brendon McCullum led by example, playing a captain's knock to rescue the Kiwis. How important was his knock, which clearly took the Black Caps out of a precarious situation as far as this match is concerned?
You see, no credit is enough for McCullum. I mean, he's been an absolute star for New Zealand. Even in the one-day series, he was brilliant. The first couple of games, he did not get runs, but thereafter, he scored good runs. He's aggressive from the very start. Today, it was a very different innings. He was actually 14 out of 60-odd balls leading up to the lunch break. And thereafter, even with the session between lunch and tea, he was extremely cautious. He was putting a price on his wicket. He was determined to stay at the wicket, playing a captain's innings par excellence. And only when New Zealand started getting close to the Indian score did he start getting aggressive. And the way he brought up the 100, you know, that aggression, that is vintage Brendon McCullum. He's playing a fascinating knock. I mean, we've dropped him twice. That's the big question mark that I have. Two drops already. In Auckland, he made us pay. He got a double 100. What will he do here? If he does get a double 100, India will be in a real problem.
Absolutely, those catches would have been now be seen as a big problem. Dada, coming back to you at 94 for 5, a win for India looked inevitable. But do you think our bowlers went into a defensive mode? They didn't in fact didn't give too many easy runs, but weren't able to pick wickets at regular intervals after that.
I think the ball also gets older. The Kookaburra old ball is not the same as the new ball. But yes, India should have or could have finished the game today. I believe they dropped a few catches. That's an important aspect of winning test matches, taking catches. But as I said, it's still a lot of time left in this test match. Unless and until it rains a day or a day is washed out, it's India's game.
Absolutely, as they say, take catches and win test matches. Dada was also saying. Boria, coming back to you, the Indian bowlers did put up a good show as far as Wellington test is concerned. But do you think that there is some complacency that is now setting in, as has been a case many times before?
You know, I don't think it's a question of complacency on the part of the bowlers, but it is an issue. It is an issue that after getting the top order quickly, India is having difficulty getting the lower order out. I mean, the lower middle order and the lower order is causing us a lot of concern, and that has been the case. If you take the South Africa series, we had an issue dismissing people like Robin Peterson and the lower order in South Africa. Vernon Philander, for example, got a couple of 50s against us, and again in this series, I mean, BJ Watling, and then we still got Nisham to get. So it is a serious concern because from 94 for 5, you don't expect a team to end the day with a lead without dropping another wicket. So that has in fact put a bit of pressure back on the Indians. Everybody thought we'll be able to close out the game. We've not been able to, and that's because of the lower order. So while I don't think it's a question of complacency or being over defensive about it, but I do think it is a concern that India is not being able to get the lower order out.
Dada, coming back to you for one more question. If India are to chase, what do you think could be an ideal target, as there are still 2 days left in the test match?
At this stage, to be honest, I'm not expecting India to have New Zealand to have a big lead, or India to chase a lot more in the 4th innings. I think anything around 200 is gettable. Moment it gets more than that, it's obviously going to be a bit of pressure. But New Zealand are just 10-15 runs ahead. To get to 200, they will really have to bat well, to be honest, because they have the lower order. It's just McCullum and the Watling batting. You've got Nisham, who's a bit of an all-rounder, and then comes the tail. It will not be easy for the tail on this surface because there's so much of movement for the seamers still. There's going to be movement tomorrow morning when the game starts. So as I said, there's nothing to panic. India will just have to be alert on the field.
Alert on the field. Boria, we still have 2 more days of action remaining, but which side you think is better placed for a win at this stage?
Standing ovation from some quarters because they have not seen attacking cricket today.
I don't think it's a question of complacency on the part of the bowlers, but it is an issue. It is an issue that after getting the top order quickly, India is having difficulty getting the lower order out. I mean, the lower middle order and the lower order is causing us a lot of concern, and that has been the case. If you take the South Africa series, we had an issue dismissing people like Robin Peterson, and the lower order in South Africa. Vernon Philander, for example, got a couple of 50s against us, and again in this series, I mean, BJ Watling, and then we still got Nisham to get. So it is a serious concern, because from 94 for 5, you don't expect a team to end the day with a lead without dropping another wicket. So that has in fact put a bit of pressure back on the Indians. Everybody thought we'll be able to close out the game. We've not been able to, and that's because of the lower order. So while I don't think it's a question of complacency or being over defensive about it, but I do think it is a concern that India is not being able to get the lower order out.
Bowling is a concern, but as far as things look, India still in a better position in this entire test match. Thank you so much, Sourav Ganguly and Boria Majumdar, for joining us with your expert view on the Wellington Test.